want to be sure that these lines are not stepped over, so that our property owners don't have, their income is not impeded, their property rights are not impeded in any way, and that they won't be forced to be paying for things that that government should be paying. They're creating the legislation.
Bring back something for it.
Yeah, I'll bring it back. Sounds good? I'll just give you the warning.
Well,
Hear me?
sorry, just for discussion, like they're already governed under the MOE, so anything under the environment, if they're spilling sewage, if it's a, whatever, manure going into a creek, or if there's too much overflow from fertilizer or whatever, that's already governed under the MOE, so that's already going to take care of under the laws that are there. We're already at a moderate rate now, according to Catholic, where there's 13 acres over the whole site that she's talking about. I think you're not saying you're making more of it than what there is, but you are making more of it than what there actually is. The farmers don't, they're not talking about it in the way that you're talking about it.
Councillor Underwood.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It's good to be 400 is 4-1. 4-1 is 4-1. I think it should be at the county level. I believe that we have an agricultural base in our full county, and our county representatives should be bringing this up at that level. If you're going to be talking to a provincial organization, a county or a coalition of other counties, it's got to be a lot better than one municipality screaming in the wilderness. You might say, maybe it's better to bring this up at the county level, and you should have more information and then see if your concerns are addressed at that level. And because we're talking about two different water source protection areas.
That's just it, yes.
So, I mean, and that's just in our municipality and the whole thing, so let's go to
And
the county.
the county will have others
Yeah.
that they address as well.
Yeah.
It immediately goes to the 4-county area with our watersheds.
Yeah.
It goes to the 4 counties, so notice that's but going to the point that Councilor Underwood makes, I mean, the points are excellent, and I think we do have, you have an agricultural committee at the county,
Yes.
right? So
And we
that,
have a motion to have one here.
and then you bring the report back, then we can say we support fully the endeavors of these perceived threats we don't want to see, right? So send it there and let them do as much
Do the
as
work.
they. But we build on what you bring to us and send it on.
And I can talk, sorry, in the meantime, I can talk to them and see what they've done to this point. I can gather some more information, see if that is of an interest to them, and maybe they've addressed it already. Maybe it's a moot point.
And
So you bring something back to the next meeting.
Good.
Any other emergent issues? Seeing none, discussion period. Opportunity for public, inquiry, items on the agenda. Speak.
Thank you for the Marywood advancement. One question is, if they do the double fine in that speed limit zone, do those funds go to the OPP for monitoring it, or can we take that half of the charge and put it towards erecting an actual proper crossway?
well, let's know the speed limit's to 20.
User pay then, wouldn't it?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Provincial road.
We get the benefit of victim services charges. Come back to these back.
Okay, any other comment?
What's the answer? 3 or 4 people were trying to
What
find
might
the answer.
we don't get the money.
Is there a way that we can implement it so that we do?
Unless we
Not a-
enforce it, and we're not allowed to enforce it.
Provincial highway.
Thank you.
Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Mayor, at the last council meeting, I took the opportunity to ask you, and you said you would look into it, concerning the issue of who in this room invited Mr. Hutt to the meeting where he made his presentation. I noted that he was not on the agenda. Is there anyone here that has an answer to that question?
Was an open public meeting. He's from the Ministry of Environment. Council invited him to make a delegation, and it was supported by the council.
Council invited him.
To speak at the meeting through a motion.
I don't recall that motion or
I
those
seen
facts.
Seen it this afternoon on the video, and we all seen it. We all approved it.
Did the MOE approve of what he had to say?
I have no idea.
Okay, thank you. And my last statement is, I find this amazing that you spent 35 minutes listening to somebody tell you how foolish you were for not building a sewage plant and a collection system. And then that same person later in the last meeting came back to ask for 2 houses on 1 septic system. Thank you. Mr. Cook, you too.
Anyone else? We have
I have one question.
Mr. Speak.
Of
Senior.
clarity. I think it's a good idea to have delegations. I just want to, I'll just pass this around. I think it's a good idea to have delegations. I understand that when you want to have a delegation, you send the information in a week in advance. So you have,
There's timeline that's listed on the
Yes.
website, what you
Yeah.
have to do, yes, sir.
so you can actually review it. There was a delegation that was brought here a few weeks ago, and I'm just wondering, 27, it was presented to the public in probably a way that they would maybe misunderstand what they were trying to show. And we, as engineers and professionals, you probably want to have certified samples more than just jars stood up with
Okay.
dark colored in it.
That's not
Anyhow, I'll
part
just
of it.
pass this around. I just think that if you're gonna have a delegation, maybe just have a look at it first and make sure that the information that's being is at least certified or else official.
We sometimes get surprised with delegations, so,
But we do have a week in advance to have a look at it, right?
and we still get surprises.
Yeah, I know, I've seen a few.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
We have 3 items, anyone else? Mr. Bailey?
From the Chamber of Commerce point of view about the pay in lieu, I think the stated position of the chamber was that the pay in lieu is generally a favorable policy. The difficulty that I think the restaurants have is paying twice, because they're still being asked to pay for parking over and above that. So that would be the stated position of the chamber.
We'll review your position when we
Yeah,
go back in.
I want to make sure it was restated. And the other one has to do with Mr. Kittmer's report, and I've got a question. Is it going to now be dealt with by the Oversight Committee, or is it just, there were a lot of interesting questions I was hoping to get an answer to. Is the Oversight Committee going to answer them, or the Tri-Municipal Board going to answer them?
The report's going to go to the working group committee.
And so there'll be minutes and all of that, so we can all get to see all the answers?
It has to be, there has to be a, well, it's not really a meeting, there'll be notes taken at the meetings, working group meetings.
And the timeline, these suggested timelines add up to 46 weeks, and the suggested deadline was 42 weeks to get a shovel in the ground. Is this all being set up to fail?
We'll have to work with the timelines when we get to the working group. This is preliminary.
Thank you.
Okay? We have 3 items to deal with in, one more? Barry?
I don't know if this question was answered, because I was absent for some of the meeting due to cold. But the question I asked at the time was, is there any way that we can get golf cart paths to upgrade the ease of movement through the town or whatever? I'm just using that very loosely, through the town. Seaforth apparently does have it in existence, and I remember at the time you said you were gonna follow up on that question, as you found it interesting. I do know that they have golf cart paths that they have put in place in different jurisdictions, and I know that in a lot of cases you're saying that the municipal laws or the provincial laws with regards to traffic won't allow such, and yet the thing is, they made the laws for the traffic. Can they not also unmake the laws to enable golf carts to be used within the confines of this area? I find that they can use them in the States, and they can find them, and you can use them in Ontario. I'm certain they can use them other ways,